So we had a little pee break for Mr. Handsome. So we're going to try a little bit again with some of this play. So I know I had mentioned, practicing, taking an item and then letting go. Remember, the benefits of your puppy being able to grab something they're allowed to have and then relinquish it means that they're getting a really good habit down of grabbing something and then letting go is not being negative. If every time you ask them to relinquish something, you take it away, then the problem with that behavior is then the next time you ask to grab something they shouldn't have, it's going to equal again, here goes my prize, and I don't want to dish it out. So I would recommend to practice with a lot of things he's allowed to play, exchanging from one item to another. Sometimes he's enjoying something and you do a little find it, he disengages from the chew, whatever he has, and then can go back to it. That way, when you go and maybe ask for a drop it, he might spit out whatever he has and then gets a little prize for relinquishing the item, which could be an acorn or something dangerous. If, for example, he's also having a hard time letting go of something, I would recommend, so let's say while something he's allowed to play with is in his mouth, I'd go right into a little find it and get him to let go and have that become, again, very valuable, that relinquishing something is a benefit. So gorgeous. So again, then we might go, you ready? Get his attention, go get it. So you can have, a cue to go grab the item. You could also then have a release word, which for my guys is normally drop it. But you might find maybe you prefer give or out. You won't be saying leave it. Leave it is going to always be for an off-limits item. So something that's dangerous, that could be toxic, or it's just a definite no, we're not going to go play with it because it could be bad for us. So if, let's say, grandma's coming to visit and then he'd like to eat grandma sweetly, I wouldn't say leave it because eventually he might be going and visiting grandma. So, but you can then practice with things he's allowed to have, those take it and drop it's, and we will dive into leave-its as well. There are a few other videos too where I've done a few leave-its with other previous doggy day school students. So if you really want to dive into some leave-it practice, so leaving something that's going to always be off limits, those leave-it videos are also available. So right now, all I'm trying to do with Mr. Handsome is practice getting him excited, grabbing for the appropriate thing other than me or something else. And then from here, it comes alive. When I want him to let go, I might go again, drop it, and then feed for the let go. Nice job. So then I would collect up my toy again, get his attention. He's like, hold on, lady, I dropped one. And then from here, I'd say, you ready? And then the toy comes alive and we play again. So getting your puppy to have an on-off switch is going to be helpful, because if your puppy just goes, oh, I feel excited, and that must mean let's go wrestle or rumble, it could turn into anytime he feels excited, he might think it's a play moment. So we sometimes want to, on purpose, practice revving the engine, using our brakes and calming down, and then going back into revving the engine again. If we just kept going to the point where he was actually running out of fuel, and that was the only reason he was slowing down or stopping, then he's not really working on how to take a breather or a breath from something he's finding really exciting. So again, we might do a little find it. So find its are easier in the beginning to have him relinquish something. Start there and then move. He's like, lady, I have so many legs. So if, for example, he is not doing a great job relinquishing something, and let's say he's having a really hard moment, it could be that, again, he's overtired or his mouth is not feeling as well. So if your puppy's especially mouthy, make sure to take a peek-see over what you have or haven't done thus far. So I'm in again, ready, Zeus, drop it. Nice job. So as he lets go, we reinforce the let go. Then the toy could come back out. We could play again. So I do recommend, I love toys that, for example, have length between you and your babe, especially in the beginning. This can be really nice when your puppy doesn't always know how to use that alligator mouth quite yet. And a lot of times they're by accident grabbing you in the process. So if, let's say, your babe also prefers balls, I would highly recommend to play with multiples, not just one that you're trying to get from your puppy's mouth. So let's say, for example, Mr. Handsome might notice one tennis ball and try to play with that one. He's like, I don't know if I like the balls as much. But let's say he finds one tennis ball, and then you could have him be playing with that one. You show him the next tennis ball to rotate through the toys. He says he really prefers more the sheepskin tuggies, which I also find those to be more fun for my boys too. So again, if he's not tons of interest in the balls, I would, though, be careful if he is playing fetch or retrieving games that it's not too intense. So remember, his joints and ligaments are not fully fused or done developing till he's closer to 18 months to 2 years of age. So be very careful as to how intense or for how long the play may be. Because if the play is rather exuberant with lots of stopping, turning, pivoting, and jostling to his body, some puppies can end up with arthritis as young as 1. So I don't recommend the throwing, chuck it type behaviors, because a lot of times it involves a very high sort of energy run to then stopping, turning, and pivoting. And that's when sadly a lot of dogs can injure themselves or become almost ball hyperfixated, almost like OCD behavior. So make sure that when you're both working him physically and mentally, there's ways to go in and out of that excitement where it's not go, go, go until we crash. Because otherwise, what you might end up doing by accident for your puppy is to, for example, get him to the point where he's so physically fit that you'll never be able to burn him out, but that also he'll need more and more and more physical energy to be expended because his brain is still constantly revving but going nowhere. So be careful with those setups. So Zeus, come. He's like, I'm thinking about it, lady, but there's a lot of good smells over here. Yes, what a good boy. He's like, hold on, there's a pit stop. So sometimes even plopping the food floor-wise gets him to come into your space. Still a great moment for him to come into your bubble and work that little recall. So, but again, when practicing with Mr. Handsome, small, short little sessions is better for any dog, but especially also a puppy. Because their attention span is not so great, and neither may ours. So make sure that when you're practicing, he's getting the little crumb that's stuck on the floor. Make sure that, again, he's being successful and we're helping him to be successful. So remember, if you don't like what your puppy's doing, prevent the rehearsal of the behavior so your puppy doesn't get good at mastering that skill that you really don't really want them to get good at. So prevention through management and using gear or using crates or corrals or baby gates are going to be your best friend for now until he can establish skills to do instead as he matures and gains those abilities. Ready? Zeus. He's like, hold on, lady, I'm getting overtired. So Mr. Z is probably, yes, what a good boy, going to go in for his little nap for a moment, and then we'll rotate through his classmates again. So he did a really great job with some of this toy exchange game.